Let's do it.
Boom. I told you. I did not lie. I said less than 5 minutes. We deserve something. And I want to say that is George. All right, because me and James, that would have took us another 20 minutes. Knowing us.
It is.
It would have taken us another 20 minutes.
Because we'd have been like,
I'm the
all right, hold
responsible
on.
one. I like
Yeah.
He's the responsible one.
We'd have been like chilling, like, oh, hold on, dog.
Just started a whole new conversation at the back. But no, all right.
He's
So
making us
we had our
be more prompt in life.
Let me say one thing real quick. So while y'all were rebooting and all that, right? I looked up the Khalil Mack trade. He was 28 years old. So for Khalil Mack going from he's going from the Bears to the Raiders, I guess. That was 2 first-round picks. That basically was a 2019 first-round pick, a 2020 first-round pick, 2020 third-round pick, and a 2019 sixth-round pick. So 4 picks in total and 2 first-round picks. So it's not outlandish. You could probably get 2 first-round picks from him.
No problem. We getting 2. You getting 2 for
I think that's like that would be one of those trades that you talk about years to come. Like that would change franchises. Mm-hmm. I really do believe that, and I don't know if it would change Dallas for the better. I
think it would because you're adding more. Yeah, I feel like you're adding more. It's just like the Herschel Walker trade. That changed our whole franchise.
Yeah.
I think Parsons is special, man. Like for real, real talk. I really do think he's like legit. Like he's a game breaker. He is at Khalil Mack level. So if you guys
but guess what? And here's the thing, though. You just said he's Khalil Mack level. Guess what? Khalil Mack got traded.
Yeah, that's true.
At 28. So it's not outlandish no more for these guys. Devontae Adams. You seen AJ Brown. Dogs. Traded.
Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like that would be insane. But so you would rather let me kind of reiterate for like the people hopping in now. Like shout out to everybody. My bad about that. If you're hopping in from a different channel, that was on me. I don't know what restream. Actually, it was on restream. I'm not taking the blame for that. But you're saying so y'all would rather trade Parsons and build more around Dak? Is that like the thought behind it?
You could. I'm just saying. We were talking about it yesterday. And you said if you had those 3 players and you didn't want, and Dallas didn't want it because they're crying. That's why they're taking so long, because of this money. You got to pay these 3 guys a lot of money. So we were talking like if you were not to pay one of those guys, we were talking about it would be Parsons, and you make the trade because he would get that value because he's younger. He's a defensive end. He would bring in a big haul. Your defense is not terrible right now. Is it the difference-making defense without Parsons? Probably not, but it's still a good defense. It's not a treacherous, terrible defense that's nothing without Parsons. You still got good edges. Our defensive tackles are weak. We're very, very lacking in the middle. But Osa Ogadazua, Sam Williams, you still got DeMarcus Lawrence. You got better at the linebacker spot, picking up people and in draft. Your cornerback, especially if Diggs comes back healthy, you got some good corners there, and you drafted this guy from the 5th round, and your safety room is good. So across the board, it's not terrible, but that middle defensive tackle is the sore thumb. But you have edge guys. Obviously, we know Michael Parsons takes the defense to another level, but the defense is not over if Michael Parsons is not there. If you lose Dak, I don't know if we're winning with Cooper Rush and Trey Lance. I don't care what happened a couple of years ago. I still don't have that confidence Cooper Rush. And let me tell you something. With the receiving core we have right now, if CD Lamb went down, we ain't doing shit.
Yeah. Can I throw one more question out there?
Yeah, of course. I'm trying to let all this soak in. I'm like,
let me throw 2 questions out there. First, I'll do one, and the other one's going to spin off into other things. First question is, why don't you trade CD Lamb? Because wide receivers are more replaceable, in my opinion. That's my first question to either one of you guys, especially James. Start off with that.
I would say because first I'll let I know James gonna go.
Go ahead, John. Hear what you gotta say, Joe.
But me personally, I'm on the same train of thought. I think that if you look throughout the league, there's a lot of difference-making wide receivers and playmakers in general, right? So I agree with that. If your main intent is to stay with Dak and stay competitive, I think that Dak has proven, even though maybe you guys, not you guys, but like your front office hasn't really shown the graciousness to say, yeah, you've proven yourself. But I think he's proven to fans that he can make offenses good. So I think that the same way you kind of say Micah Parsons doesn't make the world of difference because you have all the pieces, I think that Dak is that piece. So if you feel Dak is that piece, then CeeDee Lamb is kind of more expended. I agree with you. I think that paying a wide receiver 25 plus a year is kind of crippling right now in that situation.
Well, I see you got 2 dogs over there at Philly.
Oh, yeah.
If that's the thinking, then why'd y'all go out and get dogs? Then why didn't you just get regular? What I'm saying is, we feel all that, we say all that, and you just like you too, George. Y'all got Jaden Daniels. You want dogs, right? I bet you would want some Brandon Ayuk. I bet you, and go with Scary Terry. Yeah, you want dog receivers. So I'm the same way. I want to keep our dog too. Yeah, you can have other receivers, but that's a rarity. You're going to have rare quarterbacks like a Tom Brady that can do that. Okay, but the other team was built around it as well. Or the Green Bay Packers, they keep good receivers. You feel me? They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let me throw
that's a team.
That's the second part of my question, right? So Mina Kynes, I love her. I think she's got some really interesting content. She brought up a great question. She said, "What would you rather have?" Right? And I was talking about the Cowboys wide receivers group or the Packers wide receiver group, right? The Cowboys have that dog. They have CeeDee Lamb, but they don't have anything else. Like being real, right? They have a couple other people here or there, but CeeDee Lamb is that dog. The Packers do not have that dog. But they have like 4 puppies, right? They basically have 4 rookie second-year people, and they're all pretty good.
But they're pretty good.
None of them, like, it's what they have. Dobbs, they have Dontavian Wicks, they have Christian Watson, they have one more. That's who's the other one they have. Whatever. They have 4 good wide receivers. Would you rather have 4 above average, mediocre wide receivers, or would you rather have that dog? Just in general, hypothetically, it doesn't have to be per team. What do y'all think?
Here's the thing. I got to look at the receiving core because it's different. When you're saying the Green Bay Packers, they draft receivers well. So if that's the situation, then yeah, I'm cool with going without having a major dog because they've proven that they can get a bunch of receivers from round 1 all the way to round 7. So my thinking is if you're very good at drafting receivers, yes, I would do that. But if you're not good at drafting receivers, and we can say that because if you look at our team, we're not good at drafting defensive tackles. But we're kick ass at drafting offensive linemen. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's the thing that kind of sways it, in my opinion. But if you just ask me straight up, would I want to have 1 dog or 4 good ones? I would say 4 good ones because those 4 good ones, I can do multiple things, especially if they're young and their arrow is pointing up. You get what I mean? Because that dog, you can take him out the game, double him, bracket him. They're going to do all those kind of things with that. That's why we were frustrated when we got rid of Amari Cooper. You get what I'm saying? Because when you have that Amari Cooper, you got 2 dogs and now you can't guard one. You get what I'm saying? That's why you want Brandon Ayuk because you don't want everybody focusing on Scary Terry. That's why they went and got AJ Brown because you don't want everybody focusing on Smitty.
I think that's the perfect explanation though. And as a fan of a team that like struck out on wide receivers, it felt like for my whole damn life, damn near. I get it. Yeah, I think that having an assortment of guys, you know what I'm saying, God forbid injury, and like you said, just in the game plan, you can take a guy out. So, I mean, yeah, I would definitely take the 4 good ones. I think the Eagles are in a really lucky position, but we have 2 dogs and then, really nothing. So I mean, we're just a little bit better in that
they complement each other too. That's what good about the Eagle wide receivers. It's the big, bulky wide receiver, Duke Brown. He can do the jump balls, and then Devontae Smith's that route runner that can do underneath or over the top. So it's a good balance there.
Yeah, and then and then you get down to the quarterbacks. I mean, you got to have a good quarterback. How much? Let me ask you this question before we get into this list. How much does a quarterback having a good set of weapons or high performing weapons impact your view of that quarterback? Does that make them worse in your opinion? Does that make them better in your opinion? Like how does them having, bona fide stars helping them out on the offense, how much does that hinder them or help them in your opinion when you're ranking them?
We'll go, James.
Ooh, that's tough because I mean, when you got that dog quarterback, he can make a lot of people better. You know what I'm saying? Look at Pat
Because
Mahomes.
me and you gonna argue, James. Me and you gonna argue about this list, and I want to get this out now before we both get upset.
I know. I feel like this is a setup question. I feel like this is a setup, and if I don't remember what I said, you'll be like, "But you just said 20 minutes ago that blah 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 with the receivers." I mean, I feel like if you got a dog quarterback, it don't matter. Like he's gonna be good whether you got dog receivers or you don't. But I feel like that's just that's an icing on the cake. That just makes sure it doesn't change my view, but I guess it when you got just I can take for instance your guys right here. You got AJ Brown and Smitty, right? If you got Jalen Hurts, you're probably saying, I think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback without them guys. You feel me? I think Jalen Hurts can still play. Maybe he may not be as like this, but I feel still good at him a quarterback. But if you get him this, I feel like this taking him to that next level. So I think that's what I feel. I feel like I'm going to always mess with my quarterback if he's always a baller. But you want to see your guy get them dogs because it just takes them to another level. It's like it takes them to another level. Their game goes up another level because you know how it is. We play sports, y'all. When you're playing with regular players, it's cool. You know, you shine, you do your thing. But you know, when you playing with a dog next to you, it changes how you play. It changes how you feel. It changes your attitude when you come out because you know I got somebody else besides me that can handle this if I don't.
I think it also goes to the eye test, Joe. You basically have to watch the team and watch the quarterback. All of us are smart, man. The reason why we watch the game, we watch the film, we watch the players, right? We know what's good quarterbacking, and it's like you got to keep it consistent, though, right? We talked about Kirk Cousins the other day. What did we say about Kirk Cousins? We said he was a stat stuffer, right? He basically he just puts up numbers. But is he really elevating quarterback? Why does he put up numbers? He has Justin Jefferson. He's basically feeding that wide receiver. He's taking over. All he has to do is hit him in stride and throw it to him when he gets open. He's going to get open all the time, right? So that's one thing with that. Hurts, I think, is a good quarterback, but he needs to, for me, in order for him to get to that next level, we're going to talk about it in the top 10 in a second. He right now is getting his touchdowns with that whole tush push, that little 1 yard 15. He has 15 touchdowns off of scoring off a 1 yard run.
George be getting it in. I love it.
Honestly, that's not really. I don't view that as a dominant quarterback play to me. And I'm saying I think as a leader, I think he's doing he's a solid quarterback. But if you have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, you should be slicing them up.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We're gonna get to that because Jalen's been doing this damn thing. We're gonna get to that. So we're gonna get into these top 10 lists. All right, Dak
did all that, and all he had was CD.
Yeah. Right, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. This list hurt my heart to make because I wanted to be as real as possible. Who wants to go first? Anybody? Any volunteers?
Man, you want me to?
You want to go first, James?
Yeah, because George started it the first 2 weeks before. You hit the last one, so I can start it.
There we go. All right, we're gonna put James on the spotlight with his top 10 list. Shout out to my girl for that photo.
Yes, shout out. She had the great photos. Number one, she was awesome. She did a hell of a job. I still love all the pictures, and everybody was like, "Man, they really hooked you up." I was like, "Heck yeah, she did." All right, so my list, y'all. So first of all, I'm gonna apologize to everybody because when we did our show a few days ago or something like that, I said, "Damn it, I shouldn't have had Aaron Rodgers in here." I should have flipped it and put Jared Goff in here because I really felt like Jared Goff was more of the top 10 than Aaron Rodgers, but he's here, and I can back up a little bit why he is in here. So Aaron Rodgers, he's in here. You know, he's not that guy no more. You know, I don't really be feeling Aaron Rodgers if we keep it all the way funky, but the man still has an arm, okay? The man still has an arm. What was it, 2020 or 2021? I mean, he had MVP years, right? So that's only like a few years removed. So it's not like it was like 5-6 years ago. It was, far removed. Obviously, we saw the Achilles injury, but, Rodgers has been relatively healthy his career. We got to see this year, the Jets, they got a squad, right? They got a good receiving core, running backs. They picked up offensive linemen. They got Tyron Smith. The defense is pretty good. So I think a lot of people are watching the Jets because a lot of people are looking for the Jets to finally make them playoffs, right? They've been out the playoffs for a very long time. I don't think Salah has touched the playoffs since he's been a coach. So I feel like, even as old as Rodgers is, at 40, we saw Brady do it. We saw Drew Brees at their age do it. And I think the thing I want to see from Rodgers, because when I mentioned those guys like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, the thing that you notice about them, that they were with one team the majority of their career, right? They went to another team, and each one of those three won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Let's see what you can do, Rodgers. So this is going to be a good wait and see, but I feel like I should have flipped it, but I'm top 10. He still has top 10 talent. Okay, he still, in my opinion, still has top 10 talent. So that's why he's there.
I respect it. He's got a squad around him right now.
He got a squad. You feel me? I know a lot of people. Oh yeah, I see people already mad. I got Dak up there. I love it. I know y'all mad.
They're gonna hate my list.
Oh yeah, they already hate my list. Look at it. My list is trash. Everybody hates that I got Dak at number 2. Everybody hate that I got him at number 2. Good, y'all. I'm happy y'all hate. I'm glad you hate. It's cool. So number 9, Justin Herbert. Listen, we all know Justin Herbert got all world talent, right? That man, 6'6", arm crazy. I mean, he's hit the ground running when he came into the league, right? Touchdowns, completions. The dude has everything you want in a franchise quarterback, but he don't win when it matters the most. And to me, that matters. Okay? Now, I know y'all going to say, well, what about Dak? He took it. I know y'all going to say it. I know y'all going to say it. Y'all going to come up and say it to me. And I feel you. But that was more of a team thing to me, too, and not just all a Dak thing, because the whole team sucked that game. So, I can lay that, too. But Justin Herbert, supremely talented. You had the Kellen Moore experiment, got hurt, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So you know Herbert's going to get the numbers. But has he won in the playoffs yet?
I don't think so.
I don't even think. And I just feel like we're at the time. You've been in the league long enough. You got to at least get one playoff win. You got to at least do something beyond that. And even in big games, we've seen not even just playoffs. We've seen big games where he don't win them. So I feel like you're like a Jeff George right now, supremely talented. But you got to start winning some games over there. But I do think Harbaugh is going to help him. So I definitely feel like Harbaugh, because we saw what Harbaugh did with San Francisco, right? And Alex Smith, he reinvented him, and you saw what he did to Colin Kaepernick. So I think this is huge right here. So for me, fellas, if Harbaugh comes over there and he don't do it, then you just talented and just don't get rid of Herbert. If you can't do it with Harbaugh, just get rid of Herbert. Okay, we ain't talking about Herbert no more.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything I've read, man, everything I've kind of followed with the Chargers is that they're going to completely revamp that team too. It's not going to be Justin Herbert. He's like a $250 million quarterback, but they're going to run the ball like they did in Michigan. It's going to be a completely different look over there in Los Angeles. It'll be interesting to see. So is he going to become more efficient in that regard? Like Herbert, in regard to fantasy football, you don't want to get him because he's going to be handing the ball off. It's going to be like Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins is going to basically be Blake Corum basically over there in Los Angeles. So it'll be kind of interesting to see this year.
Yeah, like I said, you don't do it with Harbaugh. We ain't doing it. So, and like I said, once again, when we do this, the good thing about this is my list. This is George's list, and this is Joe's list. This ain't none of y'all's list. And I guarantee y'all, if y'all put y'all's list up, I would critique the hell out of y'all's list and say y'all list is trash too. You feel me?
People are putting up their list. We might have to, take some submissions.
Yeah. Submit some. I need some of y'all submit some of y'all lists so I can trash your list too. So we're going with Jalen Hurts at 8. Now Jalen Hurts dropped for me. I don't know where I had Jalen Hurts last year. I think he was he in the top 5? I don't know. I can't remember. Joe, was he? I think he was right around this place too. So here's the thing with Jalen. Here's the thing with Jalen Hurts. I don't hate on no Jalen Hurts like everybody calling him a running back. I ain't gonna do that to Jalen Hurts. I ain't gonna call you no running back or nothing like that. You had career high numbers when passing, right? I think he almost hit the 4,000 yard mark, touchdowns, but that wasn't a lot. You only threw 23 touchdowns. That's career high. See, that's where I'm like, are you really that passer guy? And then you had the career high interceptions this year. After being the darling the year before, I told Joe, I see the need to see it 2 years. Yes, you came off that Super Bowl. You was playing like a dog. We got to see you do it again. And what happened? Wow.
I don't think he had that bad of a year. I think just as much as you have said about the team around him, around Dak or other players. I think that we have to be realistic about what Jalen Hurts was working with last year. I mean, his numbers weren't horrible, other than the turnovers. The turnovers definitely went up, but I don't know. There's got to be a little bit of context. He was hurt. There was a lot of stuff going on around him, and he still basically willed us to about, I'll give him like 8 or 9 of those games that we won was because of Jalen Hurts. Our defense was bad. Our offense was all over the place. So I think there was a little bit of context to it. I get it though. I'm not hating.
He was all over the place. He was kind of all over the place too, though. That past year, we even talked. I said your victories weren't like impressive victories, and there was a lot of games fumbles. Didn't he have like 5 or 6 fumbles this past year too? And didn't had like 10 rushing touchdowns, but he wasn't the runner that he was last year. And we said that you can't keep running like that and taking them hits because he took a lot of hits, and I feel like that wore on him. You can't be like doing that. If you're going to be the quarterback, you got to be able to evade those hits. And I think he took too many, and I feel like that came into him. So I feel like this is a critical year to me for Jalen Hurts. You had that Super Bowl year, the magical year, and then you kind of came back down to earth. So now we need to see what you really are. And you got a Kellen Moore, you got a new guy. So this is going to be very interesting to see what Jalen Hurts does this year as well. Because now you got the Juice Crew All-Stars. There's a lot of pressure to produce. And if it doesn't fall good, and a lot of it's going to be heard about the quarterback, could be a lot of changes as well, especially with the coaching. So I think this is just as big a year on your year as us. So I just want to throw that out there. Next, C.J. Stroud. I wrestled with this one, y'all. I'm gonna keep it real. C.J. Stroud I wrestled with this because he turned up, and I feel like he's gonna be a dog. I don't feel like this was one of those 1 year wonder years, y'all. We've seen them, right? 1 year wonders. We've seen them time and time again. We've seen quarterbacks come in like 1 year, turn up, and then you never hear about them again. But I feel like C.J. Stroud is the truth. I'm out here in Ohio, so I get to intently watch him, play the game. I think the reason why I kept him a little bit lower because he was a rookie. That's just me. I think that's the only thing I kept down with was the rookie. And you need to see it again because I feel like he's going to come down to earth a little bit this year, in my opinion. I feel like he's going to have that magical year too. I feel like guys are going to come back down to earth. But I still feel like you will still see a very good quarterback. When they had Justin Fields there and C.J. Stroud, I always thought Stroud was better than Fields because I thought he was a passer. He's a pure passer to me. Yeah. He's not the running, passing guy. He's a passing quarterback. And then he may run. But he throws the ball, 4,000 yards, 23, only 5 interceptions. When does a rookie only throw 5 picks? And you saw he was instrumental in their turnaround. But once again, he still is a rookie, and I think that's the only thing that I kept him down because I feel like he's the truth and he's going to be dogged. And I feel like if he has just a good year, he's going to be higher up on my book because he has everything. And that dude ain't little. You see him standing next to Michael Parsons? He damn near big as him. He a big dude. He got a big arm, nice size. I love C.J. Stroud going forward, but the only reason why he's lower because he's a rookie. That was it. Matthew Stafford. A lot of people hate on Matthew Stafford. I don't. I've always kind of liked Matthew Stafford. A lot of people hate him, but I've always liked Matthew Stafford. I always felt like he had very good arm talent. Yes, he went to Detroit. Yes, he didn't win there, but he did help them get the playoffs. And remember, he was injured his first few years, and they were wondering if he was ever going to be a guy. Because remember, he was having those shoulder injuries and being knocked out. So he was dealing with that in the early part of the year. But once he got healthy, he really turned up. Now, his biggest problem is he likes to throw that interception. We know he throws a lot of interceptions. But at the end of the day, when you watch him, man, he's got a supreme arm. He can bring you back in games. He had Detroit competitive. They didn't have great teams. They had good teams, and they were competitive. I feel like that the reason why they were competitive was because of him. And then when they made the big trade, hey, I'm sorry. They went to the chip and won. Was it all because of him? Not going to say that. But you can honestly say that when he came over to the Rams, he definitely made them better. And this past season, he's 35 years old. He didn't have a bad year, y'all, this past season. This past season was not a bad year for Matthew Stafford. If you look at what he did, he still threw almost 4,000 yards. 24 touchdowns, 11 picks. Not a bad year. And guess what? They were right back in the playoffs. Okay, so that's why I'm going to talk about Matthew Stafford, and people can hate him. I'm not. Josh Allen. I know a lot of people are going to say, "What the hell are you talking about with Josh Allen down at 5?" Well, you know what? Josh Allen's a turnover machine too. Okay, dude threw 18, 19 picks this past year. You get what I'm saying? It's like, bro, like is he supremely talented? Yes, he can run that damn ball. Yes, what his run passing, he's a dual threat guy. His touchdowns, he hits the big time throws, but he's a turnover machine. And guess what? He was a turnover machine in college. He was inaccurate in college, and it has followed him in the pros. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, we saw him get to that championship game banging with Pat Mahomes. But ever since then, he's been some of the reasons why they haven't won games too. When they had big games and they should have won, he's been the reason with those turnovers and bad passes. We saw that last game. He gets greedy with his arm. Y'all can honestly admit that with me too, that he gets greedy with that arm and he trusts that arm too much and he throws bad passes. He gets greedy. You got guys underneath. We saw that one game where there was underneath guys on that third, fourth down he could have hit instead of getting greedy and throwing deep, where they lost that game in the playoffs. That's what I say about him with his decision making. Too much. And now it seems like a lot of people saying getting kind of Hollywood. So that's something I'm gonna watch as well. So we're gonna see how he plays without Stephen Diggs, right? And now he got a new core. He still got Kincaid, but now he's got Keon Coleman. He's got young guys. Let's see what he does this year. But I got him at 5, y'all. Okay. Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow, but he stay hurt. He's hurt, guy. He's hurt every year. And what do they say? The best ability is availability, right? So we can't keep talking about Joe Burrow being that top guy when you hurt every year. You hurt your wrist, you hurt your knee, and we know he's cool Joe. We know what he can do on the field and how much he turned around that Cincinnati program. But it don't matter if you ain't healthy. It does not matter. And we need him to be healthy. We see the talent, but it don't matter if you're not healthy. And I think that's why I knocked him down, because he can't stay healthy. And once I feel like you're a hurt guy, you're always hurt guy. So that's just the main thing. Now, right here, 3-2, 2-3. Yes, I battle with this because Lamar was MVP. And Lamar, they went, to the championship game. And Lamar had, career high numbers this year. Lamar, I don't think Lamar's a better passer than Dak. Sorry. I just don't think he's a better passer than Dak. Yes, he gives you that dual threat. But to me, I feel like that's what still hinders him, in my opinion. Yes, man, he can skirt out. Yes, he can do all those things, running the ball, broken plays, and he can do so many things out of it. But I don't know about y'all. Do y'all still feel Lamar Jackson throwing the ball? If y'all going against the Ravens, are y'all fearing Lamar Jackson throwing the ball at y'all? I'm asking you two right quick. In spurts, right?
But I think the offense runs through him. I think he's a playmaker. I don't think he's a passer, if that makes any sense. I think there'll be a couple wow throws throughout the game, but it's not necessarily, he's not going to dominate you with spraying the ball around the field. But they'll be you think you got him, he's going to flick it down the wrist. He's a threat anytime he touches the ball, in my opinion.
I agree.
That's what I feel. I feel like, yes, he's a straight dog. Yes, he gives. We played him this year. He gives a whole different element to the game. You must watch that. When keep him in the pocket and contain, but that's all I feel. Hey, keep him in that pocket and let him beat you throwing. That's what I want to see, and that's what my question mark is with me still, in my opinion. I'm sorry, this is. And so now when I go to number 2, like I said, y'all, what's so funny about this is Joe. No, I give Dak the blues. I don't know why people acting like I don't give Dak the blues, like I don't get on him, like I don't be tripping on him. But this past year, besides that playoff game, was magical in my opinion. He came back from leading the league in interceptions, which was 15? Wasn't crazy. But when we saw a lot of those interceptions came off receivers and things of that nature, but he still led the league in interceptions. And it was maybe a little step back because the year prior, he had a fantastic year. But to come in with new guys, a lot of this pressure that we all hear, especially all he heard last year was leading the league in interceptions. See, Dak leading the league in interceptions. Turnover king. Dak. All I heard was Dak king, turnover king. And we have you seen Dak's career? He's not a turnover king. He has one of the best TD to interception ratios in NFL history. So really, we're going to throw that in Dak's face. That was an anomaly. And he came right back and balled out. Y'all can say what he want. That motherfucker threw 36 touchdowns. Okay, 37 big time throws. was most in the NFL. 2.0. I'm reading out stats, turnover worthy plays, because I had to bring my guy in here. So I'm coming with stats. You know what I'm saying? And Joe knows because he's a PFF guy now, right? Yes, you are, Joe. And it says his 73.5 passing grade under pressure was number 1. 37 big time throws in the regular season were most in NFL, and his 2.0% turnover worthy rate was the lowest among quarterbacks with at least 400 dropbacks. Led the league in touchdowns with 36. Had under 10 interceptions after leading the league. And there was that quote out there. He said, "I ain't throwing over 10 interceptions." We know that was a fake quote, but he did. He threw 36 and 9. You know what I'm saying? 69 over 70% completion rate. And like I said, the only thing killed him was that Green Bay game. But if y'all really watched that Green Bay game, and I said Dak played like crap, but you know what? When you saw that first drive, when they went down on our defense, you knew, at least our Cowboys fans, at least me, knew it was about to be a bad day. Okay? We don't play good under that hype. 16-game win streak. They ain't lost at home. We're the wrong team to win on that type. So, yes, a lot of people will disagree with it in your opinion, but that's your opinion. This is my opinion. And if y'all really watch my channel, I'll be getting on Dak. So for me to put him where I put him, it's got to mean a lot because I give my man the blues. And I just feel like he had that type of year. It sucks that it ended like this, but you can't tell me he wasn't playing like an MVP all damn year. Yes, he did. And then obviously, I
don't want to speak for George, but I love how it ended. I
bet you do. I bet you do. You know
it was some good TV. I didn't mind watching that.
I know y'all do. So it is what it is. And then Pat Mahomes, we know he's the gold standard. He didn't have the greatest year this year. I think he threw for 4,000, like 27 touchdowns. He threw like 14 interceptions. So he was one of the top guys with INTs. But you saw his receiving core. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they gambled and got rid of Tyreek and came back and they flipped him with some regular receivers. Mm-hmm. They still won. Mm-hmm. Yes, they got that defense. That defense was a hell of a lot good. I mean, it balled out in the playoffs, and that defense really kept them in the game when you saw certain games where they were playing bad. But guess what? I don't care. With the game on the line, I'm taking Pat Mahomes, bro. I'm taking Pat Mahomes over everybody. And the game on the line, if you give him the ball and you start on the 20 and you got a 2-minute drill, I'm taking Pat Mahomes every single time. The man is making history. I ain't gonna lie. I would love for the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl, but I ain't gonna lie. I like to see him chase this history because no team in the NFL has ever won 3 in a row. So they're gonna be chasing history. It's gonna be very interesting to see. They got them more weapons. They're a team that's going to keep loading up. You got an A+ coach in Andy Reid. So it's a perfect storm over there in Kansas City, right? You got an all-world quarterback. You got a pretty much all-world coach. And all you got to do is just put regular pieces around him, and you see he can do it. So that's why he's the gold standard for me. And he may go down as one of the greatest quarterback in NFL history, for real.
Yeah, and we're watching it. I didn't realize nobody ever three-peated in the NFL.
Right.
That's kind of crazy, especially with the whole dynasties we've had. That's crazy.
It is crazy. The Bills got there 3 times, but went on 3.
They got there 4 straight. They got there 4 straight.
3 times. You're right, 4 straight. You're right. Forgot about that.
They're trying to forget that.
So go ahead, give me y'all critiques. Give me y'all critiques. Not y'all fans, because y'all been tearing me up, y'all.
And I do want to say before we get on, this is a random time that we don't usually go. There are some new faces in here. I did kick somebody out. We do not mind talking, keep it football. Like I just don't, we don't do the whole like, oh, you are this, you are that. We don't do that. If you want to, there's King on deck. He hates the list. He's talking football. I respect it. That's cool. But some people are just doing a little bit too much. Don't do that. We don't do that here. So now you know if you didn't know. But as far as the list goes, I'm cool with it. I think that the Aaron Rodgers, like you said, Jalen Hurts, I understand your critiques. So it's not the first time I've seen Jalen Hurts that low. I've seen him lower. So I tend to just
a lot of people
try to understand the reasoning.
Top 10, Joe.
Exactly. I just try to understand the reasoning. I respect your reasoning, so I get it. My list is different. I mean,
I'm with Joe. Same thing. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is way too high. I think, You got to respect him, though, because if he comes back to form, he was a multiple-time MVP. He never turns the ball over. I just don't know if his head's in the game. I think I had him like 17 or something on my list. I need him to kind of prove himself to kind of like he's in a, he has to show me before I can give him props for this year because he's been out of it for a little while. The rest of the list looks fair for the most part. Mine's a little bit different. We'll talk about the order in a little bit. Dak Prescott, that's some brash number 2 right there. I don't know, outlandish. He spoken on some good this morning. James,
I don't think it's outlandish at all. I don't think it's outlandish at all. We swept y'all.
Yeah, it wasn't hard last year.
We've been beating y'all up. Dak owns y'all.
I was looking at it. I was like, he had 8 touchdowns against us last year. I was like, you know what? I mean, that's easy. Our team was awful last year, but I'm saying Dak Prescott's good, but I wanted to put him number 2. That's all I want to say.
Okay. But y'all got defense this year, and he's gonna wear y'all out again.
We'll see.
I don't think George has seen my list, my top 10, so this might surprise you a little bit.
Okay.
All right. I want to say before I put
he was smoking on good too.
I'm not as high. I think I'm close though, but I will say this before I put it up. I looked at this as far as going into this year, looking at, who I think has shown me last year, stuff that they showed me last year over their career and just weapons. Same way that I looked at the top, 20 that we did. So I say that, and I'm trying to be honest. So Eagles fans don't kill me. All right. We're going to go with mine. I even put the picture they're
going to tear you up. But you got Dak over Jalen Hurts. They're going to tear your ass up.
So I got Rodgers at 10. I agree that's why I didn't really, go in on you because I have him a little bit too high too. So I agree with you. I'm 100% where you are with Rodgers, probably giving him a little bit too much love. But again, he has the team. Everything that he needs in order for him to succeed, I think, is there. You know what I'm saying? So if he's healthy enough, I think he could have a really good year. Jared Goff, I think Goff is really, really underrated. I think Goff had an amazing year last year. I think he had a career high in most statistical categories. So like he balled out last year. He took Detroit somewhere they ain't been in ever, I think, almost brought them to the Super Bowl. So I got respect for him. He got hoed out of a win against Dallas. So, I feel his pain, man. I feel his pain. But I like Jared Goff a lot. I think that he might be getting even better, and that's a kind of crazy thing. I know a lot of people out in Detroit that cover the Lions and everything. And people saying the Brock Purdy hit is right. It definitely is. But no, Jared Goff, I think that he might be even getting better. Like I think that he hasn't hit his ceiling. I think now he's finally comfortable. Even though he had a great coach out in the Rams, I don't think it was a great situation. I think that he was kind of on eggshells. I saw a different Jared Goff in Detroit. So I like him. I think that he's going to keep on getting better. Matt Stafford, I was between putting Matt Stafford, at 9 or, but Matt went out there. He won them a Super Bowl. You got to give him that credit. He's been good his whole career. Hasn't really led a team like I think Jared Goff did last year in Detroit, outside of, I guess you could say, the Rams. But again, there was a lot of good players on that team. He had Detroit for a long time. He had Megatron for a long time. So, I think they only made the playoffs once under him, if I'm not mistaken, with Matt Stafford. So I don't know. It is what it is. He has the ring. He looks really good. He's been really good the past couple years with the Rams. So I put him at 8. At number 7, we have Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, he's just, you said it perfectly. I mean, he's not available enough for me to sit here and be like, oh, he's that guy. I need him on my team. I think that there's other guys I would take over him. And that's kind of how I looked at this list as well. So Joe Burrow, I got 7. He has a really good team. I don't know. I think that him not being available as much and just you look at what he has around him, you would kind of expect a little bit more. I feel like he had that year run that he went crazy. They went to the championship game. They didn't go to the Super Bowl, right? It was right before the Super Bowl that they got taken out. But I mean, he had that one great year, and then I don't know, it just kind of fizzled out, got hurt a bunch. So I don't know. I think that he's one guy that his arrow might be going down if he can't stay healthy. CJ Stroud, I think Stroud is a dog. I think he's ready to take over the league, man. I watched like the last 10 Heisman reactions or whatever. And he lost, I think, twice in a row. And it's just, you see a guy's face, you know what I'm saying? You see a guy's face that is like, they have a huge chip on their shoulder. So I think you add that to him having a really good system out there in Houston. I think that they're building something out there. And then he's just a really good player. So I like him. I think that he's going to be a top 5 quarterback before this year is done. I truly do believe that. This is probably where it gets dicey. I don't think Lamar Jackson is better than Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry. Can he run faster? Yes. Does he do like cooler spin moves? Yeah. But they're very similar players, and Jalen Hurts has bested his passing almost every single year. And just as you can say that Lamar Jackson is the cog of that offense, I can say that about Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts makes our running game way better, makes our passing game way more effective. People tell me that Jalen Hurts, can't throw. He's not a thrower, but he has 2 of the top 10 wide receivers in the game statistically. I mean, so I don't know. I think that Jalen Hurts, the only thing that Lamar has that Jalen Hurts does not have is 2 MVPs. And I can't take that away from him. I can't explain that away. But even if you look at those MVP seasons, those numbers aren't crazy. I'm sorry. It probably is just me, and maybe this was the homerism in me, but I just don't see it. I think that Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar Jackson. I think that Jalen Hurts is a better leader than Lamar Jackson, and it's proven that Jalen Hurts brought his team to a Super Bowl. So I'm taking him at number 4, Lamar Jackson at number 5. I think that Lamar Jackson is an amazing player, and that's that. I know y'all probably, I don't know. I can see y'all in the background.
You can breathe in the background, right? Like, Lamar Jackson. Let me list off Lamar Jackson's skill players right now, okay? Rashad Bateman, old Odell Beckham Jr., Nelson Aguilar, you guys are very familiar with. Zay Flowers, he's all right, he's a rookie. J.K. Dobbins tore his Achilles, so he had Gus Edwards as his running back, and Mark Andrews was hurt for most of the year last year. But Lamar Jackson won the MVP and took him to the AFC Championship game. That's why Lamar is Lamar. Like Lamar, I can see what you're saying. Like in regard to numbers, yes, Jalen's numbers are better than Lamar, but I don't think no other team in the NFL asked their quarterback could do as much as Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. Like, he is their offense. Like if Lamar Jackson goes down, the Ravens are done, and the Ravens win year after year because of Lamar. And that's why I think he gets a lot of credit. Like I think they are a black and blue kind of team where they run the ball, they play defense, and kind of like just make sure they win the game. So I don't think they have to score that much in Baltimore, but I think Lamar Jackson is the reason. He is that force multiplier. He raises the entire team. That's why I like Lamar Jackson. And that's why he's actually the opposite of Jalen Hurts, right? Like Jalen Hurts is like, he is a great quarterback on an awesome situation. Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback with a crappy ass situation, but still wins. And I think that's why, for me, that's why I like Lamar Jackson better than Jalen Hurts, in my opinion.
I respect that, but Jalen, I mean, if Jalen's not asked to be in his situation, Lamar Jackson is not asked to be in his situation. And look at what Lamar Jackson has gotten weapons. It's not like he doesn't have Mark Andrews. It's not like the offense isn't literally catered to what he can do. Well, like Harbaugh literally changed everything he does as far as football goes to fit what Lamar does.
That's true. That's true to an extent. I agree with that. In regards
to hold on, let me jump in and ask this though. If Jalen Hurts had Lamar Jackson receiving core, would he still be nice like that?
I think that if he ran a system, hold on. I think that because wide receivers have went to Ravens and not succeeded, right? Didn't Odell just come from there? I mean, wide receivers have gone there and not succeeded.
That's washed Odell. I think the person that left was, so they draft I think Hollywood Brown was on their team. He got mad and he left because he wasn't producing that much, but actually had a pretty good year. There's another first round pick. So someone said Rashad Bateman's a first-round wide receiver. Rashad Bateman was overdrafted. He never has produced anything. He came into the league, and he was not supposed to be there. He was an overdrafted coming out of Minnesota. He's never proven to be a first-round wide receiver. He's washed. He's going to be done, in my opinion.
I just don't think – I don't know. I just don't think that he is better than Jalen. I get it. But I think that there's way too much, just as much as you can say that Jalen is in a really good situation. Lamar Jackson is in undeniably the most unique situation as a quarterback in the league. There's no other quarterback that has their offense totally tailored to them. There's really nobody. I can't think of any other quarterback. So, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not in no way saying that Lamar Jackson is trash. I think that he's an amazing quarterback. I just think that he's very kitty cornered to what he can do. If he goes to Philadelphia, I don't think that we're the same team, not even close.
You think if Lamar Jackson had them two receivers?
I think Lamar goes to Philadelphia, he has to win a Super Bowl easily, man. Lamar Jackson.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think he's physically more talented than Jalen Hurts, like by far.
Yes, he is.
And I think if you have better weapons, if you have an offensive line where he's not necessarily scared of anything, we can just sit back and throw it to A.J. Brown and throw it to Smitty, throw it to Goddard, run the ball in a read option behind the offensive line. It'd be ridiculous. Saquon next year, it'd be over, dude. It'd be nice.
But he does the same things that Jalen does. But Jalen, to me, is a better deep ball passer, accuracy-wise. He makes better decisions. I think that you don't have to tailor. You don't have to say, all right, run it, and then if you see somebody open, throw it. You can literally say, all right, Jalen, step back and figure. Oh, my bad.
But did you? But hold up. But hold up. But Joe, I want to ask you this because did you see that video with Greg Cosell from the NFL when he was talking about how? I want to ask you about this. How they was talking about Jalen, how they had to cut since they was winning so much that nobody was talking about it, but they had to cut the offense down because he was more of a one-read guy.
I don't believe anything that our media says, and I'm not saying that just to defend Jalen Hurts.
That's not Philly media. He's NFL.
Greg Cosell, he covers a lot of Philadelphia stuff. I don't know. Maybe there is some type of rift in the offensive room. Maybe he is a one. I don't know. That's not what I see. I'll say that much. And two, I don't think that anybody in Philadelphia knows what they're talking about when it comes to this team. That's been proven kind of time and time again from our beat reporters to, national publications. They say stuff and none of it's true. So we've gone from A.J. Brown not wanting to be here. We've gone from, Jalen Hurts hating this guy, that guy. Everybody hates Jalen. Philadelphia is just a piss poor example of reporting, in my opinion. I think that's the nicest way I can really say it. But I don't believe that to be true. I really don't. And if that is the argument, you can't tell me Lamar Jackson is not a one-read quarterback.
I
think he's evolving.
I just don't think he's super. I feel like he's not. Yes, he's accurate, but like you said, his deep ball is not accurate. And if you really just crowd him and really don't allow that short game and really make him throw that ball, 17, 18, 16, make them tough throws. I don't know if he can consistently do that all the time. And I think where he really shines is because he can get out of that pocket and he can run. And he can run better than a Jalen Hurts. Like when he gets out, he gets out. Jalen Hurts don't get out like Lamar Jackson does. Nobody in the NFL gets out like Lamar Jackson does. And that's his biggest threat, because you have to keep your eyes on that. You must, because he will kill you.
I think Lamar Jackson can make any throw, but can he do it consistently and repeatedly for 30
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm thinking. And then I think I like Lamar. I think he's fun to watch. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a great regular season quarterback, but the next step for him is actually winning in the playoffs. I think he's actually 2-4, like as a playoff record for Lamar. So
not great.
He has this aura around him, and he's like one of the best quarterbacks of our generation because he's unique. But I just don't know if he'll be able to, it's like I was at that game. Like, luckily I went to that Kansas City Ravens game. It was in Baltimore, and I was at the AFC Championship game. You could tell early on, Kansas City's like, we're going to shut Lamar down. He's not going to run, beat us with the arm, and he couldn't do it. And basically I saw that, and I was like, damn, he's still got a lot. There's still some more growth. He can't get there yet. So it's definitely interesting.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, George, what you just said. Kansas City said, you're not running. You're going to have to beat us throwing the ball, and he couldn't do it.
That's what I'm saying. And that's an interesting thing about the NFL, right? You can win a certain type of way in the regular season, but the playoffs, when they have it, when they're dialed in, they're like, you know what? Like, it's a different type of game in the playoffs. Like, I feel like you can be a great passing team throughout the regular season, but you have to be a great running team to kind of control the clock and dominate the offensive line. Like in the playoffs, it's a little bit different. And then I guess Kansas City was like, you know what? We're not going to let him just kind of run around. We're going to take that away, beat us with the arm, and he couldn't do it. That's what happened. It was ugly. It was actually a pretty ugly game when I was there.
Yeah, but Jalen Hurts has won with his arm.
Yeah,
multiple times.
We'll talk about that when I get to my. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. It's gonna be good. We'll talk about that then.
So I got past like the rough patch of my list. I got past the rough patch of my list.
Get to that.
Look, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I hate Dak Prescott. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. I hate everything about them. Everything about. I hate when people post videos about Dak Prescott. I hate everything. I can make a whole like poem, but I'm not gonna. He's a dog, bro. Like, I mean, he is. He's been consistently a dog. Yeah, we could go at that. You know, the one year that he led the league in interceptions, which really wasn't that many interceptions. If you really look at it, it was kind of a crazy year that year as far as how little interceptions were thrown, I guess. But you know, he's just consistently led his team. The NFC East, I think, has two of the best quarterbacks, and I think that he is slightly better than Dak Prescott. But I also do think, better than Jalen Hurts. But I also think that on the trajectory that he is in now and the willingness of his front office to put things around him, I think Jalen Hurts will quickly surpass anything Dak Prescott has done as far as success in the NFL. I think that MVPs can happen easier. I think that Super Bowl wins can happen easier because he has a front office that's willing to put that money and put, you know, the weapons around him. So I do think that in a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, we're having a different conversation. But I think that Dak Prescott is slightly better than Jalen Hurts right now. And that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I put Dak Prescott ahead of Jalen Hurts. You got to give me points for that.
I'm giving you points. I was surprised, but it's right. And just like you say, he's probably like he's only a toe better.
Toe better.
He is. He's like, you know, a smidget. That's the word of the day. Josh Allen, honestly, he could drop all the way down after this year. This is it for him. I gave it to him because you can't really deny what he's done. He has been very successful. The playoff success hasn't really been there, but I'm not really basing this list off of that. So I just think that if I'm starting a fantasy, you know, redraft right now, right, I'm probably taking either Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, that's probably the two players that I'm starting my team around. So I had to put him there at number 2.
Don't bother you though? That inaccuracy that bothers me.
It does, but he's just such a specimen. Like that arm, being able to run, like he can do a little bit of everything. So maybe I'm that dumb GM that just has hope that I could be the one that, you know, makes everything right. But it's hard to, and he's still young. He's not that old. He's like 28, 27, something like that. So, I mean, he's still got years ahead of him. I just think that he has so much growing to do. You just can't deny it. And then Patrick Mahomes, I said this, it's funny, me and my girl were having a conversation about Patrick Mahomes yesterday. I think it's Patrick Mahomes, a large gap, and then whoever you really want to put. I mean, that's really how I look at it. I think Patrick Mahomes is head and shoulders better than any other quarterback in the NFL. I do. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone there, but I truly do feel that.
Yeah. Can't deny it.
Y'all can talk y'all talk now. I mean, if there's anything y'all want to.
You go ahead first, Joe. You go first, Joe.
I think we hit it. Yeah, I think we kind of talked about it a little bit, right? Aaron Rodgers a little bit too high. But you never know. Aaron Rodgers was multiple-time MVP. I got Joe Burrow a little bit higher on my list as well, but I can see the rationale behind it because he's been injured. You got to come back and prove it again. I would have Lamar over Jalen, and you know, like other than that, I think it's a pretty good list, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I like the list. I agree with a lot of you say. I think we definitely agree on Aaron Rodgers. You know, where we both feel like, we probably put him up a little too high. So I feel you with that. I mean, we agree on a lot of things. I think, like I said, Lamar Jackson to me is one of the most trickiest players on this list, in my opinion. He's the trickiest guy on this list because of what we were just talking about. He's supremely talented, all world, but that passing when you need it the most, I feel like is not there. So it's kind of like, he good in the regular season, but it's like teams know how to get him in the playoffs. They know how to attack him, and I think like that's the thing. So he's a weird one And I feel like, honestly, Jalen Hurts is a little weird one, too. And here's the fact, because I think somebody said something about Brock Purdy and his weapons. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I kind of knocked him down, because you got the perfect storm and the perfect system over there. And as I said before, let me see Brock Purdy with the Indianapolis Colts, or let me see Brock Purdy with the Tennessee Titans. Do I think you're going to be that guy? I don't believe so. And I think with Jalen Hurts, I'm not doubting no Jalen Hurts. I like him as a player, but he does got a lot of weapons over there. And I also want to, and the team was like, we loading you up. And that's nothing wrong with the team doing that. The team is supposed to be aggressive, in my opinion. But I also wonder, like, if he didn't have no weapons, am I talking about Jalen Hurts being a top quarterback in this league? I do ask myself that question. This is my opinion. I ask that question, like, if Jalen Hurts didn't have A.J. Brown, if he just had, like, a Jalen Reagor, or if he had just, like, another regular guy, is he doing these things? I don't know. I still have that doubt for me.
That's fair. All right, so that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad, George. You are a lifesaver. I'm gonna let you know, because I will say me and James have grown up a little bit, but you're keeping us calm, and I love this.
Bring some levity. I like it.
Yes,
no doubt. There we go. Perfect.
You're that middle piece.
All right, so here we go. Here's my top 10 list. We'll see what y'all think. I think we're all pretty similar. I think we all kind of dialed in a little bit. I didn't have Aaron Rodgers, but I had Jared Goff, and I gave him props, man. Jared Goff comes out there, 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions last year. I think 29 and 12 the year before. 12 and 5 with the Detroit Lions. I think he's going to be good for a while. And I think we talked about it on the last show. Jared Goff, I felt, got done dirty, man. He got sent into exile from Los Angeles over to Detroit. They didn't think he was going to win. I think he's a perfect fit for what Detroit wants to do. They want to be a hard-nosed, tough team, and they basically want to have a quarterback that can distribute the ball. And I think he's doing a good job. And we talked about it. I'll throw it out there again for the chat. We said last week in that draft class, it was Jared Goff and it was Wentz. And it's like, you know what? Jared Goff actually proved that he deserved to be here, man. He's the number one pick. He's still around. He's still winning. Took teams to the Super Bowl and he's in the playoffs. So I can't hate on Jared Goff. I'm happy for him. I hope he continues to have success, right? Jalen Hurts.
This is what I want here.
Yeah, so Jalen Hurts, this is what I'll come up with, right? He had a real rough stretch to end of the year. And I think we are thinking of Jalen Hurts as like the Jalen Hurts from 2 years ago, or the Jalen Hurts that took him to the Super Bowl, right? Like Jalen Hurts right here, right? The last 5 games of the last season, right? 1 touchdown pass, 0 touchdown pass, 0 touchdown pass, 1 touchdown pass, 3 touchdown pass, 0. That's how he ended the season last year. And that's how the Philadelphia Eagles also, their season went into a tailspin, right? So you can say that the Eagles were basically, he was hurt or something was going on, but that's a fact of the matter. That's the last time we saw Jalen Hurts. We saw them kind of spin out in the end of the season. We saw them get knocked out in the playoffs. So who is Jalen Hurts, in my opinion? And that's why this year is going to be so important. Like he had 23 touchdowns last year. That's okay. 23 touchdowns, 15 picks. To put that out there, Sam Howell for the Commanders, he had 21 touchdowns, 21 picks, right? If you're saying Sam Howell's completely trash, Jalen Hurts is like number 2, number 3 quarterback in the league, it doesn't add up, in my opinion, right? So that's just one thing, right? So we got to keep that in perspective. He does score. He does get those tush-push rushing touchdowns, but that's what fullbacks do. That's what running backs do. And I'm not saying he's a fullback.
Can I combat that? Can I combat that real quick? I hear the tush-push excuse so much.
Yeah.
Let's look at between the 20s. I mean, we can go. I think somebody actually did a whole video.
I saw the video
showing, before the tush-push. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is bombing this ball. Like he's throwing the ball. Yeah. That's the thing. I think that Jalen Hurts, a lot of people get lost in the tush push. A lot of people get lost in the, read option. My man's is throwing the ball. And James will tell you, when we first started this show, I was one of the most critical people on Jalen Hurts. Yeah. I was easily one of the, you even know, we knew each other for that. We knew each other for a long time. All 3 of us, we've known each other for a minute.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I was very critical of him. So he throws that ball. He's a baller, bro. We would not be who we are without Jalen Hurts. That's simple and plain. I know we have really good wide receivers, a great offensive line. We've never had great wide receivers. I'll be honest with that. This is probably the best team we've put out. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's take one. Yeah, let's take one. Yeah, stack.
but he is the glue. He is the guy that keeps everything together. He keeps the train. There's so many things that he does correctly. You know what I'm saying? There's just and things that you can't measure. You know what I'm saying? And everything that went wrong with last year, I don't want to give him excuses because he definitely was a part of it. Don't get me wrong, but there was so many things, man. There was so many things around. You know, I can't put that on him. I really can't. I think that he kept us afloat because those problems were there all year. It wasn't just the last, I think, 7, 8 games that we lost. It wasn't just that. It was all year. So I get it, though. I definitely get it. And I don't want to sound like that, crazy homer, because I understand the criticisms, but I think that there's so much more surrounding it. But I had to get that off.
That's true. You get it off. It's all good. But the thing is this, right? Basically, we're talking about last year, and that's how I view this list. Top 10 quarterbacks heading into this season, right? He ended the season on a slide. Are we going to say he's the number 2, 3 quarterback in the entire league with what we saw at the end of last year? Just putting that out there. I'm not hating at all.
I respect it.
And to let you know, I don't know if you guys know about this big fantasy draft called the Scott Fish Bowl. It's like a big, like a 20,000 person tournament. I have Jalen Hurts as my quarterback because he puts up numbers. He had 15 rushing touchdowns with that 23 passing touchdowns. So he scores touchdowns. But if we're talking about building a team, is he going to be the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the entire league that I want to build my team around, like in a redraft? I don't know if I'm going to. I wouldn't put them there. There's other ones in front of them that I would put them ahead of. That's what I'm trying to get at. So just saying that right there. Justin Herbert, I could have maybe put Hurts above Herbert, to be honest with you, but I just think Herbert has. I think Herbert. You could have. I think Herbert has the arm talent, man. I think he has it. He just got to put it together. Herbert hit that watermark of 38 touchdowns. He's thrown for over 5,000 yards in this league. Like Herbert, when he hits, he can do it. The problem is inconsistency, and he's been kind of falling off. Like there was a time where people were saying Herbert was a top 5 quarterback. I think he's regressing, and all of us had him pretty low on the list. I think people are starting to be realistic with Herbert. They thought he was going to be the great new hype, but he's not there yet. So he's kind of falling on the list. So I still see the talent in him, but I don't think it's there for him right now. That's kind of where I'm at with Herbert. Stroud. The only reason Stroud is number 7 for me is because I want to see it year over year, right? I want to see one more year of it. He's a rookie. He did it. I thought he had a great year. Like I actually have some stats here. In week 8, starting at week 8, he's caught on fire, right? He had a 5-game stretch where he threw for 470 yards, 356 yards, 336, 336, 304. So throwing for 300 yards in this league, and people think about Madden numbers, that's actually pretty impressive in the NFL. Throw for 300. You don't do that every week. He did it for 5 straight weeks, including 470. And Tank Adele got hurt throughout the year, and he blew up Nico Collins. Nico Collins was like basically
he got Nico a contract. He got Nico a contract.
Nico basically was exactly right. Nico was like on bust territory, and then blew up as a result of CJ Stroud, which is a sign of a good quarterback. So I think CJ Stroud's good, and he has no excuses this year. Adding Stephon Diggs from Maryland, that's my alma mater right there. With Tank Dell, with Nico Collins, he's going to be, Joe Mixon at running back. The Houston Texans are going to be a fun team to watch this year. The only reason to have him as 7 is I want to see it consistently. Right? That's the only thing I'm going to have with him. That being said, that's where Matt Stafford falls. Right? There is that consistency. There is that maybe it's a legacy pick, and that's why I put him at number 6. But I think highly of Matt Stafford. Did you guys know Matt Stafford has 56,000 yards passing and 357 touchdowns? He's that's ridiculous. That's borderline Hall of Fame numbers, believe it or not. He has to win some Super Bowls. He has to get into playoffs to actually get there. But 56K, 357 touchdowns. He's in that McVay offense. I think McVay's going to I think he's a genius, coming from Washington, but also coming from that Shanahan tree. I think he's smart, and I think the Rams are going to be interesting with a Puka Nacua, a fully healthy Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum. I think they're going to be a pretty potent offense this year. So I like Matt Stafford. I think I respect him. He played in Detroit for years and years. Bad teams still put up numbers. Now coming over to the Rams, I think he can continue to do it. So I'm interested there. Dak Prescott, man. So come on. one thing I'll always say, you might not necessarily like my opinions, but I'll always be as honest as possible. I'm not going to be biased, right? And I think Dak Prescott had a great year last year, man. Like, there was a point in the year where Dak Prescott was like borderline MVP, in my opinion. I don't like. There was like a 4-game stretch where he threw like 4 touchdowns back to back. He was looking impressive, man. Like I feel like as an outside perspective, I feel like Dak, like the Cowboys do Dak dirty. I feel like Dak plays well. I feel like Dak has been a good soldier. Dak does the right things, but basically they don't pay him and they always questioning him. And Jerry Jones always throws him in the bus and in the media. And maybe I'm looking at that wrong, James. I'll be curious to hear what you say about that. But that's what I catch about Dak. I feel like Dak like gets done dirty in Dallas, and maybe it might be better for him to try something different, like maybe go to Miami or go wherever. Like at the end of
that's what we all talking about, big dog. Like we just feel like if a team really invested, because we don't feel like the team invests really in Dak. Like we talked about even with Philly, they went out and got an AJ Brown. They went and got Smitty. They went and got Saquon Barkley. You feel me?
Yeah.
They're doing things to help their quarterback, and it feels like they don't do it in Dallas because we can't pay this. So they're like, well, we paid you this money, Dak. You're the franchise quarterback. Do it. And I feel like it's unnecessary how they play him like that, because you got to have other people around you to help you.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's where I'm at with him. I was impressed. I'm giving him his flowers. I think he had a hell of a season last year. I'll be interested to see where he goes. Like it's funny. Like,
but I'm interested in the Burrow thing, though. I'm interested in the Burrow. Why I got to hear this? Why he's ahead of Dak, though? I need to hear this.
I'll bring that up in a second.
Okay.
But to say one thing, my last thing about Dak, it's funny. As a Commanders fan, we talked about this. Like, you're my least favorite team, and I'm your least favorite team. That's how it goes. But I don't hate Dak. Like I hated Des Bryant. Like I hated I hated Ezekiel Elliott. Like I just like when I looked at him, I got sick when I watched him on TV. Like I don't feel that way with Dak Prescott. I feel like Dak Prescott's a good dude. I feel like he's getting done dirty in Dallas, in my opinion. That's kind of where I'm at. I kind of like CeeDee Lamb too. I think he's a good player. But let's go to the next one. Burrow, man. So Burrow, it's all about the injuries. You guys are talking about it. But he's cold, man. Joe Burrow. You know, when he's actually healthy, he can take over a game, and he proved it. Going to the Super Bowl, what was it, his rookie year or his sophomore year or his second year? He took the team to the Super Bowl, and he put it up. He already in this league, he has a season of 34 touchdowns and 35 touchdowns. He keeps getting injured, keeps getting knocked out. That last one was a freak injury, right? We had the ACL. Chase Young actually tore his ACL in the game against the Commanders a couple of years ago, but then he had that freak injury with his elbow or his lower arm or whatever it is, that weird muscle that kind of knocked him out. I still respect it because I think it's in him. Like, I'm a college guy. Like I saw that LSU offense in 2019 when he was leading them was one of the best college offenses of all time. And it was, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Joe Burrow just kind of leading that offense. They were ridiculous. And I saw that transition to the NFL. I'm not going to give it up on him yet. I'm chalking it up to injury, but I believe in him. I think he can bounce back. But then again, he can free fall. Like I think Joe said, Josh Allen can free fall. Joe Burrow, if he gets injured again, then it might be like that kind of that Grant Hill, that Penny Hardaway, like that awesome talent, but it's just not going to be there. We'll see what happens with Joe Burrow. I'm curious about that. We talked about Lamar. Lamar, basically, I respect Lamar. Like I was kind of a hater and tough on Lamar for a while. Like I don't know if y'all know, like in the Philly area, Dallas area, Ohio area, Florida area, it's the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and Baltimore and DC. Like the DMV is DC, Maryland, Virginia, but Baltimore is not the DMV. It's like a whole other culture and a whole other vibe, whole another like they don't belong to us. Like not like us. That's how we view them, right? Mm-hmm. So I was kind of hating on Lamar for a while, but like you got to respect the year after year because the Ravens win year after year, and it's all because of him. Like Devin Duvernay, Nelson Aguilar, like Rashad Bateman. There's like these trash wide receivers year after year, and Lamar continues to win. And maybe it's the great organization that he's in, but I respect it, and I think he's getting better over time. I think he's becoming a better passer, so that's why I kind of have him there. And Josh Allen, it's funny. I always fight for Josh Allen. He's easy to hate. Like I feel like people are like, we see the turnover numbers, we see the interceptions. People are like, he's not clutch. People don't respect him. He went toe to toe with the GOAT. If we're saying Patrick Mahomes is the best by far and head and shoulders above everyone else, It took an overtime victory, the first Super Bowl run with Patrick Mahomes, to basically knock Josh Allen out, toe for toe, gunslinging after each other. It went back and forth. It was one of the best NFL games over the past 5 years when they went after each other. That was a great game. In regard to physical talent, he has the physical tools. Like what can you not say about Josh Allen, right? He has a gun. He can launch football wherever he wants, can make any throw. I guess the one negative is that he's got arrogant arm talent, but so does Matt Stafford. You can say that as well. But he can, he's a big guy. Like, look over the last 4 years. These are Josh Allen's numbers. Okay, this is 4 years ago. 37 touchdown passes, 8 rushing touchdowns, 45 total touchdowns, 36-6, 35-7, 29-15. This guy's averaging 45 touchdowns every single year over the last 4 years. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, right? And people are hating on him, saying he's not good enough or he's not getting there yet. Like, when he figures it out, he's only 28, as Joe kind of alluded to. When he figures it out, hopefully, if he figures it out, he can be even better than this. So if he can kind of cut down the turnovers, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins a Super Bowl, or he should hopefully win a Super Bowl at some point. So I got to give it up for Josh Allen. And then bring it on home, Patrick Mahomes. I call him the baby goat, man. He's the baby goat. He's probably going to be the best quarterback in NFL history if he stays on this trend. He really impressed me in that last Super Bowl against the 49ers. Like, he willed the team to victory. Like, they were down. He was, taking hits. He was moving the ball. His ankle was hurting him. He was running down the field. He was impressive, man. So Patrick Mahomes, I got to give it up for him. He's even with bad weapons last year, like, he had one of the worst receiving corps out last year. I mean, Kadarius Toney, he elevated Rasheed Rice, but Rasheed Rice is having some offseason stuff going on right now. He elevated them, old Travis Kelce, and still won a Super Bowl. So Patrick Mahomes, we're lucky to be watching these guys. But by the way, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrow, Jackson, we're lucky. It's a great era of quarterbacking right now. So it's dope. It's my list.
I hate your list. That's my critic. No, I mean, I get it. I like it. I'm not mad at it. Joe Burrow, it's really just injuries with me. And I already said what I said about Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. So I feel like if you got Lamar that high, Jalen should be a little bit higher. Mm-hmm. I don't think CJ should be higher than Jalen at this point. Mm-hmm. Definitely not Justin Herbert. But yeah, other than that, I'm cool with it. Jalen's my only gripe. Mm-hmm. That really is.
Mm-hmm. Me personally, my only gripe is that Dak and Joe. I mean, Joe's a dog, but he hurt guy. We got to get Dak over him this past year. I feel you with Matthew Stafford. Me and you totally agree with him. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people underrate him. They hate on him. They hate Matthew Stafford. He's had crazy numbers his whole career. I'm with you with Jalen Hurts. I think he's good, but like I said, this is the year. Like I've been telling Joe, I said, after he came back down to earth last year, this is the year of what you said, George, is what is Jalen Hurts really? This is the year I feel like I'm going to find out, because I saw that Super Bowl run. Okay. Then I saw you come back down to earth. Now I need to see what you really are this year, because this year to me is going to tell me with Kellen Moore. Okay. So that's why I'm in that gray area with Jalen Hurts right now. So I feel you with that. Josh Allen, I agree with you. I think he could win a Super Bowl, but that inaccuracy bothers me about him. And I think he's got even more arrogant arm talent than Matthew Stafford. I think he's super arrogant with that arm, and I feel like it costs his team. And I feel like he needs to reel that in. If he can reel that in, I feel like he definitely can get to a Super Bowl and win one. I do. Because you're right. I feel like you don't see dudes that big playing quarterback like him. That's a big dude, dog. Like, that's a big man. And he runs like a big dude. And, the element that he adds is different. But I really want to see how he plays with this receiving core. You know what I mean? Because you don't have big. I really want to see how Coleman. I really want to see how you really work these guys. It's really going to tell me a lot about him as a leader, because I think he lacks leadership. And I think that's another thing that he needs to add to his tool belt. He needs to be a better leader, in my opinion. I don't think he's the best leader.
I agree. He has a young Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman, I think, is 20 years old or something like that. He didn't even Keon Coleman didn't really have like a blow up like year at like he had a decent year at Florida State, but it wasn't like a dominating like 1,000-yard, 15-yard touchdown thing. It was like a 750 and 5 or something when he was at Florida State. And then he has Curtis Samuel, who he's like a more of a trick kind of a gadget kind of player, not necessarily a refined route runner. So we'll see. I think in retrospect, the only thing, because it's funny, we put this list a couple weeks ago. The only thing I probably would switch would be Herbert and Hurts. Maybe flip them a little bit, but everything else I felt pretty confident about.
Yeah. And it's funny.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just on the CJ Stroud thing, I'm with you. I just need to see a year two. I think he's going to be a top 5. I agree with Joe.
Yeah.
Like if he has just a decent year, right? He's a top 5 quarterback in my eyes, because I just feel when you saw it, when they talk about the eye test, I feel like he passes the eye test. So if we're talking about a quarterback, if you just look at the eye test,
yep.
CJ Stroud passes the eye test with me, and I think he's going to be the next dominant young quarterback in the league. But I just need to see it year two, because I feel like he's going to come down to earth, and I want to see how he responds coming down to earth and not being that Cinderella team like they were last year.
Yeah, and it comes down to, we said it last week, right? Mentality, especially with Josh Allen. He has all the talent in the world. Can he grow that mentality, grow that leadership, and do what he's supposed to do? What the heck is this?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, that's me. I got my phone on the charger.
I don't know why this thing's here.
Yeah, that's different.
There we go. Restreams all over the place today. So that's our top 10 lists. Go through the last 3 weeks of this. We did our full 32. So definitely let us know what y'all think. If y'all want, DMS y'all lists. Maybe
please
we'll go through them on the show.
Was a lot of trash.
That'd be cool. Yeah, what's a lot of trash?
That would be fun.
Yeah, you know who I really? Hey, Joe. You know who I really want? Tell that dude Donald Martin, put in your damn list, because you was over there talking reckless over there on there. I know you took him out. I would love to see your list.
I'll invite him back in, see if he has a list. He don't got a list. Yeah, usually,
the ones that talk like that, they list terrible.
Exactly. They got a Bobby Boucher and a bunch of fictional characters. But no, hey, that's our list. Like James said so proficiently when he was doing his. That's ours. Y'all make y'all's. If y'all want to talk, then we'll talk. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all have our DMs. Hit us up if y'all want to send us y'all list. We'll definitely go through them. We gave y'all a lot of content today. A lot of content tonight. So next week we will be taking the week off because George has a life. That's something me and James are trying to work on.
Yeah, me and Joe ain't got George is popping bottles.
George got a good life.
I'll pop bottles next week for sure, absolutely. But then on top of that, training camp's coming up, guys. We have training camp
next week.
Here we go, man.
And it's going to be huge because that's the big thing. Like I said, that's training camp's the key to me, because Cowboys don't sign guys. During camp, or at least when they get toward the end, the start of the season. So I think that's the biggest thing. We're looking to see who's getting signed first. Is it going to be Dak? Is it going to be CD? Is it going to be the one? But I told you, they're not going to sign both guys this year. One guy is not getting signed this year.
When we get together next time, by the way, I'm going to camp on July 1st, or sorry, August 1st. So by the time we get together for our next show, I'm going to bring some content. We can talk about that. It'll be a good time.
Cool.
Perfect. Yeah. So once the season starts up, once the training camps and everything starts going, Best Enemies is going to be back. We took our nice little hiatus after the Senior Bowl, but we back, and we stronger than ever. So I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, wherever you are. But y'all got anything to say to these beautiful people before we get out of here?
I'll just appreciate. Keep on tuning in. It's going to be fire. We got a new addition on the show, and we're loving it already. The content is fire already. Y'all playing around. If y'all ain't touching this NFC East thing, we doing a trilogy. We're doing a trilogy now. You feel me? We had the Deuce. Now we got the trilogy, and George really brings it. And I'm just really excited to really talk even more football. Me and Joe, I love talking football with Joe because I love how he brings it. He's not the bias. He talks real. And George is the same thing. And these are the type of people I love talking real football with. So I'm excited for this year, and I'm excited for the addition of George. So I'm happy you're on board, bro.
Absolutely, bro. It's going to be a good season. I'm looking forward to it, bro. Be awesome.
Yeah, man. So y'all know what it is, man. I am Joe. That's James, and that's George, who hated on Jalen today. But we are the best of enemies, man. We love y'all. Peace.
Peace.
We're brothers.